Like, let's do that again.
Okay,
Alina.
okay, this is Corinne, newly moved to the town in September.
All right. Okay, now in this area. Well,
Good morning, this is Neil, sorry. This is Debbie Bradford. She's a village resident here at San Juan. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been here probably 40-something years. I'm president of the Hunt Committee now with the Preservation Committee. I also am the vice treasurer, I'm the treasurer for the Ellenville Softball League, which is part of what you guys are working on, which we want to kind of hope to incorporate in with you guys moving forward. And when you came to the recent village meeting, looking for help, I didn't know you needed it. That's why I said,
Right.
we're here.
awesome, welcome. Hopefully
you.
you'll enjoy what we do
Yeah.
and want to join us because the town appointment for the last 2 years and the village appointment is for 5, less than 2 months here already. So if it's something you're interested in, just put it in the application. They have them here. I don't know what the village does. They usually say
Yeah.
yes.
What's the-
I can go get that.
That's all right. We can go on the way.
What was that application for again? I'm sorry.
To join
Be on the
the
commission if you so desire.
Oh, okay.
The village wants 5 years. And again, the town is 2 because that one was vacated. Now we have the open officer position of secretary. So are we going to get anybody to raise their hand on this? Not
This
good.
is our monthly stalemate.
I feel like we should just rotate, like it should just rotate around.
Yeah,
every-
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to
Why don't
have
we do
a
that?
Unless someone's
secretary, but then
Unless
we
someone's really
can-
passionate about taking notes, like,
I don't know if we need the secretary to take notes every meeting.
Because of the recording function and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to be secretary, just at least.
Well, what does it mean to be
Nothing,
secretary?
it's just filling a position by our bylaws, I think.
but they have to type up, then somebody has to type up. the
Yeah, but
minutes.
we'll do what we've been, I mean, I was gonna do January, but the video's not up on the website, so I can't, and I didn't take notes.
Yeah.
Put it out there, we can come back at the end.
And that's George left the position, right?
No, he vacated it the year before. actually.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if George wants it again, if it doesn't include minutes.
Yeah, that's it. We'll have to table it till next meeting, I guess, because,
I mean, if it doesn't include
Gina.
minutes every time, maybe I'll do it, no one else will.
all right, we'll just do on that. for
Okay.
another month. How's that?
Okay, that sounds good. That's good.
Well, we'll try to
Take one for the
do,
team.
at least if there's 3 of us doing it, it's
Yeah,
not so bad.
Yeah,
If somebody else would help, that'd be great.
I'm happy to be in on the rotation minutes.
I mean, I think everybody should do it.
Yeah.
If you're on this committee, you should.
Why don't we
take
just
turns
rotate
Yeah.
it for doing notes?
I will have a little more time later, in about 3 or 4 months, I'm gonna have a little more time on my hands and I'll start picking up some minute writing.
Yeah, just, it's not on the burden of one person.
Yeah.
Because if somebody loves doing it, which
Yeah.
seems not to be the case anywhere,
Never met
unless they're getting paid for it.
Well, the good thing about writing the minutes is you get to put up your own slant on what happened at the meeting.
So we're great, we can always veto some of that. There's supposed to be minutes there, man. Not,
It's being recorded.
yeah, not political,
That's amazing.
essays.
I'm into it.
All right, so we'll head right to the agenda's pretty short because there is some things going on, but not everywhere. Rail trail,
So we got the signs. They are in the street department's
building.
facility.
Yeah,
They are there and they will be installed in the spring.
Wow.
great, awesome.
They look great. They are huge. They're giant. Obviously it's the specs
Yeah.
that was designed, but it's.
They
won't miss them,
big
in
sign.
other words.
You're not missing them.
They're 3 foot by 4 foot, is that correct?
Yeah, they're huge. They're like this, one of them's like the size of me. I'm like, oh, wow, okay.
Not
Do we
steep.
have designated spots for them?
Yeah, there are, according to that plan, there are spots for them. So I told Mike, we had a conversation. And I was like, I'm just gonna make a note to check in with you on like April 1st to make sure you know where they're going. And then as soon as the ground is, thawed, they can get them in. But yeah, they look really good, which is exciting. And Howie, of course, would love to do more signs for us, even though with no money. He said Littman Park, I keep forgetting to look at that sign when I drive by. He's like, that one's looking rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sign's 20.
It's old, yeah.
It's
I
at
think
the
he
end of
did
its
that
life.
sign
He
too,
did.
right? Yeah. So he was like, I would love to do that sign for you. And I was like, well, I'll have to talk to Terry.
I wonder how much that style of sign was.
I mean, it's really this, you could figure the
Same.
price is gonna be the same per
Yeah.
square foot, essentially, it's a bigger sign.
That one two-sided, I don't even
Yeah.
remember.
You can read it going northbound or southbound into.
So that was probably
It's
triple,
probably gonna be about
what.
$1,000 then for that
Or
sign.
more.
Yes, it's a little bit bigger.
And two-sided.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if there's budget for it, I'm more than happy to handle it and get it work with Howie, but I'll have to talk to Terry next time I see him.
But then the others,
Sure, Johnny.
I think the other,
Terry's good. Or on this, so
the no motor vehicle signs, that really, that's priority. on
the ones for the new law for the rail
Yeah,
trail.
yeah. That's gonna be the next real big priority. For signs at
they
least,
should be, they should get those on there.
so.
Are we handling that though, or is that gonna be handled by the town?
Well, one's in the village, and one's in town, right?
I mean, the village.
Isn't there already one at the entrance in the village?
Yeah, it just doesn't have the new verbiage
Doesn't
of
it?
the.
And, but the village didn't pass the law, right? The town
Yeah,
only
it's the
passed the
town
law.
Oh,
What law is that, if you don't mind me asking? I'm feeling kind of low.
So the village passed, the town passed the law that you can't run, that you can't dump or run motor vehicles on the rail trail. Unless
Oh,
they're
okay.
authorized. So, we want to put up signs to that effect.
Okay.
But what makes sense is to try and get the village to pass the same law.
Yeah, well, it's gonna go on their property by the sewer plant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
they-
or is that actually considered?
And actually, Elliot was kind of waiting for the town to pass the
To pass
law
it.
before he did something, and now he's gone, so.
They did pass it, so we should maybe bring it from the village.
I can do it in my next village
Okay.
update and I'll like get I'll get
No
the
worries.
text of the law from Johnny.
There was that county property. That rail trail, even though it's next to the. Some of that, it's not that rail trail going by the county.
And not in Morrison or Ellen.
No, okay, that's what I'm asking, because I know I see different.
But what happened, the county owned the whole thing, and then they got rid of, they divested pieces of it.
Okay,
to the railroad, but-
The other signs we were talking about are vehicular signs that vehicles and pedestrians can see, directing them toward the rail trail. Yeah, so there'll be actual wayfinding from Center Street and Center and Canal.
Just
Just
canal,
Canal.
canal, and then it,
yeah.
Edwards
sewer plant
and
road,
sewer planner, Little League.
Going down to the. village.
So those signs come from the, the town and the village cooperated on a signage and wayfinding plan, and the signs that you got on are the first ones that have been fabricated
Produced.
using those standards. So I think the other thing that would be good is as we learn of or hear about the town or the village needing new signs to try and point them to those sign standards
Yeah.
so that we move towards, slowly move towards implementing signage and wayfinding plan. So it's not like official park business, but it's something that we can help with, if we know of signs going up for other reasons. And that's a good example too, like the Litton sign doesn't have to be replaced.
Maybe we put that in next year's request, like how we did with the trash cans. That might be good.
Wasn't the trash can that's in this year's budget?
I know, but this year's already passed, obviously, so maybe we put Lippman Park
So
sign.
just do the same
Oh,
thing we
Lippman
did.
Parks.
for next
Oh, Lippman
year.
Parks.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably make it one more year, huh?
Yeah.
So I think Terry's well aware of signs. Didn't either the village or the town bring the colors into their logo now?
I mean, if I see Terry, I'm gonna ask him
Logo?
about
Oh.
Lippman.
If you look at their, yeah, I thought one or the other did or both. What's that?
Right, they're both the same color.
Yeah, the blue and the green, right? Yeah, I think the
Even
only
the
one
camp-
that didn't was the school.
Even if they
stayed there.
count, it's the same.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. So Hank, those signs that welcome to that you said they're the wrong Indian head.
Yeah.
Probably when those go bad, go get replaced with something
Unfortunately,
like this.
those are quite new.
Yeah, I know they are, yeah. So
Is there any way to be able to possibly integrate both of them? Because one of them is like, he's 30 and the other one's like new era coming.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, you mean the,
I
having the,
implement them both because they're both.
I mean, even the sign on the town hall is still the old. Out front. All right, any issues on the rail trail? No trees down,
I'm sure there's trees down right now.
and after that,
Yeah.
I only wanted last week, but not this recent storm.
I imagine some,
Now there's gonna be some trees that fell with that ice.
cross-country skiers are gonna be out.
I set down some tracks and there's one other guy who set down tracks before the
Maybe
freeze.
Christian, probably, because I think he does go up
Does
and
he?
down, yeah, you know, those at the end there.
Right.
So
You can't ski on it now.
You could ice skate on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, we're gonna finally get a,
Thaws out on the end of the weekend, yeah.
right, a little bit,
Although I'm worried about spikes around and that helps.
You know,
I see some grass.
I went to Bob Maples Park yesterday and it is like a skate rink.
Yeah.
Cedar slid down the berm into the flood zone.
oh no.
So you shouldn't be saying.
They're being-
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh my God, Farm Road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like from the hill down to where the basketball court is.
Really pick
No,
up some
Oscar,
traffic.
They're using, they're using the top of the lid of the garbage can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
oh my God.
Oh,
I did see that.
I see that.
I was there.
Hey,
Because I wanted to go into the dog park was good enough.
Uh-huh.
And these kids were, I'm like.
And you
"My
see what the
garbage
lid
cans."
is? Yeah.
Yeah, we've never done this before, but the state park has, we're mandating that people have spikes on to go in the
Yeah,
park.
yeah.
Because it's so icy. I've
Yeah.
never seen that before. We usually
Oh,
recommend,
wow.
yeah, but it's seriously icy on the
It's
mountain.
crazy. Like, I can barely walk on my street right now.
Yeah,
without spikes.
dangerous.
do they plow the trails up there,
No,
Hank? No?
we groomed some of them for cross-country skiing, but that, you know, that leaves snow
I
on
mean,
them.
that's a lot of,
Room it, Santa
Wow.
Claus or
No,
something, right?
okay, no, just everyone
Okay.
else.
about San Antonio. All right. I guess that takes care of the rail trail, which would lead us to the dog park.
Okay.
So you wanna,
So for those, I know some folks, I'm sorry, Jerry, were at the village board meeting. The headline is that the village board passed the conditional site approval for the location in the upper area of Brum Road Park as it's identified generally in that 2018 master plan for the park. So it's just north of the pavilion up there by the upper parking area. So what it means that they approved that is just that Coffee now, can spend the time to map out a full implementation and maintenance plan based on that site location. So, it was a 4-to-1 vote. I think that everybody is very concerned with ongoing maintenance and as we've discussed here in this meeting, we share the concern, you know, this is top of mind for everyone. And so, yeah, the next thing will just be mapping out like the full itemized project plan and then bringing that back to the village board. And I can bring it back here first so that we could talk about it if we want, based on the timing. I mean, if it's ready to go, maybe I'll just email it around and we can comment over email. But the whole idea is that the onus would be on the Coalition of Forward Facing Ellenville to fundraise for it and to enter into an agreement like the Renegades Bike Club is a good model for a volunteer group kind of managing something in a public space. So that's kind of the update. Jerry gave great remarks at the village board meeting. Martin, who's not here, but also gave a great, you know, statement. We had longtime residents standing up. Roger Buckwalter spoke. We had a lot of folks in the room
it
who
was pretty
supported
bad.
it. Yeah, you know, one thing for me that was hard is like, a lot of people turned out, but it was a little unclear, like if and when they could speak and share their points of view. So I think that's just feedback I'm gonna share with the village board that I'm hoping that can be clearer.
Maybe when faith when this gets presented.
Yeah, just in general too, like, I know from my experience being on community boards in New York City, like, there would be a sign up sheet where if you wanted to speak during the presenters section, you sign up, and then it's like very clear when you can speak and everybody gets a chance to speak.
Don't they have that on their agenda like they have at the?
Well, they
town
have a petitioners and correspondence, but there's no sign up, and it kind of, it's, the onus is on the attendees to like kind of
Mhm.
speak up.
You can email Tracy, like people can
Right.
email Tracy and then she adds them.
She adds
to
them
the-
to it.
Under that.
Right.
topic.
So that-
But you-
That's how the-
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's how we got at it,
Otherwise, we wouldn't get to
right?
speak.
But I think,
You're talking about the village board.
yeah,
Correct, the village, yeah.
but there, I think there's a little more we could do for people who come in person,
Just
they,
walk in.
yeah, to involve the community, so,
Even whoever acts as the chair, just verbally say, this is the time. for
Yeah.
Petitioners to
Yeah.
speak, I mean, that's.
That's the thing, they don't have a specific time for.
they don't make
So maybe they
it
need to
exactly
do it.
clear, yeah, I
Yeah.
think,
It's on the town board agenda.
The town,
Town
but
board.
not the village. Yeah.
That'd be a good first step.
Yeah.
I watched it on tape because I wanted to hear about the dog park before I came. And it would have to be that she stood there and said, okay, is there anyone in the audience that wants to talk? 'Cause
right,
if you're just sitting there,
it's
you don't
unclear.
know that you can raise.
And I also even feel like it's maybe not my job to call it, so I kind of deferred to the board, and then they called on a couple people, but then other people were raising their hands and never got called on, so it was a
And
lot.
one just stood up and he just spoke.
Yeah, and you don't wanna, not everybody feels that comfortable, like
Correct.
really asserting themselves. So anyway, that's just kind of something in terms of public process that I think could go better.
Let me just mention,
Okay, yeah.
what I've seen at the village board, especially when there was a big hot topic. And probably one was the short-term rental thing. What they did is at the beginning, they knew people wanted to speak and they announced, you can come up again. Like your 3-minute limit.
Yeah.
There's
That's
no
the-
rambling on for,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
that's, I
10
think that's
minutes,
a,
which some do, which, you know, we saw it for previous.
I think it's a standard to do 2 or 3 minute
Yeah,
limit and, but let everybody speak.
that
which is-
wants to.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's just something that I was thinking, reflecting on after the last 2 meetings that this topic was on the agenda, but like overall, I think the discussion was good. I think, I don't know.
I was surprised to get an applause, but go ahead.
Well, I think there was a lot of support in the room.
So I feel, so I spoke, right? And I don't think that what I was trying to say was said correctly in a way. So I wanted to clarify, right? So for example, we run the summer camp at the school, right? So we are at our own, like the municipality borrows the school, pretty much borrows the location to run the camp.
Yeah.
I think that's what the public is not getting from the dog park. It's like, correct me if I'm wrong. So what the Coffee Group is saying, we want to get an agreement with the village to create this park, right? And we are going to take care of it. Is that what the general thing is? So I think that's how it needs to be kind of sold to the public, because the public is seeing is like, Coffee's coming in and they want to build this park, but then the village people are going to be stuck with it. That is not the case.
Well, even the board felt that way.
Correct, so I think simplifying it, like everybody's so like, the doctor, what people are not getting the full picture, like I literally, then I'm like, so what's going to happen is if you guys do your research and blah, 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 and everybody says, okay, you guys are running with it, but it's pretty much what you guys are saying is the land belongs to the village, so we need the village to approve us to be able to do the dog park, and we are gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
That is the same agreement that we have with the school. Well, we are the school, we are responsible for the school for that time. That's how the people need to, the community is not understanding that.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's how simplified needs to be, like, we can buy the piece of land for the dog park. We want to be able to do the dog park, and this organization is gonna take care of the dog park. Not so much as the village per se.
Yeah.
It needs to be simplified.
Yeah,
And I think it will be it will come out easier and people will actually, more people will support.
yeah, and I think that'll be the next step. So like, this first step was just identifying the location. Just like, what are we even talking about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but people out here, they don't understand that. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I
like
mean,
for people who are used to like the process is great. But for someone who is just like seeing it online or hearing from other people when they don't have all the facts, it's really hard for them to
Right.
process the actual
Right.
process, right?
Right.
So just the whole topic, the dog park in the village, people who have pets, great. I don't have them, but I think it's a good idea, why not? People who don't and have kids like myself also, it's like, hold on, you're doing a go kart before kids. Listen, we're not taking away from one to
Yeah.
add to the other.
Yes, exactly.
This is an organization that is willing to
Exactly.
do something, but they need to pretty much borrow the land
Mhm,
because it belongs to the village.
mhm,
I think if we simplify like that for the community,
mhm.
it will go smoother.
I think
Not like
that's-
you need the approval from them, but it will go
Yeah,
so
I
much
think
smoother.
that's such a good point,
Yeah.
and I think I would ask can you help?
I
Because
can do that,
it
yeah, that I
sounds
can
like
do because
you
if you
have-
simplify
I've
that
got
way.
the messaging, personally, I'm not on Facebook and I'm not gonna be for my mental health. It's just not, I'm not going there. And so I know there's been a lot of chatter on Facebook and like, if I'm gonna be a good volunteer for this community, I'm not gonna open Facebook. Because it'll upset me and I'll just give up, so
I have to.
I'm committed, but I'm committed to like doing the work.
Mhm.
So I think that's where I really need some help from everybody here or people we know, like if you are, like, I love how you simplified it and I think you're right. I think people are sort of running away with it. And I think if you can help share that simple message in whatever outlets you're seeing the confusion. For me, it's like I make sure the Journal is writing about it properly. And I think their articles have done a good job of like explaining the process. And, the presentation I gave to the village board, I tried to make this very, very clear, but I do think those other areas of communication, it would be a huge help to help, like, just simplify that message. And the next step is gonna be us just mapping out what that agreement looks like. And then the village can approve or deny it, like, it's gonna be up to them.
So this is my take, and even I texted Lena.
Right.
When this proposal comes in, and you know how the board has been pushing back from the village, it's gotta be exactly what you're saying. It's built and it's gonna be maintained for whatever, 7, 10 years by coffee. Like, if there's even like probably $10 coming out of the village budget, they might knock it down, you know what I mean? That's being a little facetious, but if they see that it's gonna be built and maintained by an outside entity, for the most part, it's gonna hopefully be approved without any.
And this again is how most dog parks operate.
So I'm a big firm of believe in common sense. So I went over to Bloomingburg, because they have one.
Yeah.
Because I have a dog, but we own property, and I think it's a great idea, I think it's a great idea because it shows how it grows, that's to me. So when I went over there, when you look up, if you Google things about, dog parks, there's like all kinds of things that you could do and can't do. It's not a big area, I don't even think it's as big, if you've been there, right?
Yeah,
It's not as
It's
big as
not
I
as
think
big
what
as-
you want,
yeah.
right? But I said, okay, so this really isn't a big deal, because being with the softball, they use our field.
right. Yeah, exactly. Part of it is
And
to
people
stop that
don't pick
misuse.
it up.
Right, so then you've got dog
We
food all over
ride-
the softball
We've
field.
had kids, we play and
They're
you
playing
know,
and they
yeah,
fall.
but again, it's like you said, it's common sense.
Mhm.
It's responsibility on everybody who uses it.
Yeah,
And you're right, 100%, Jerry, because I've been dealing with this board, with this hump building for 10 years now.
right. They don't want
If you don't, black and white, and yes, we don't have to do anything, as you heard them,
to. Yep,
you're right, yeah, we have to present it as,
I mean,
this is what
if
it's
anything,
totally
it needs
hands
to
off.
be minimal
Right.
on the.
the only thing, if you do have questions, because I know it's the next phase, they say water is required.
no,
It's
not
not
required,
required,
no.
thank you. Because I know they have it in, so I'm thinking.
Some dogs
I
parks
was
will
looking
have
for
it,
what the village was gonna,
not required at
Okay,
all. So,
thank you.
so for our kind of like, with the research we did to sort of determine like, what are must-haves to
Right.
open? The main things are the secure fencing, the double gated entry.
entry, okay.
A separate area for small dogs. Some places don't have that, but I think for our community, we need it.
It's a good
We need
idea.
to start with it. And that's it, and signage. As some places don't even have trash removal, which would be a mistake, I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so for us, what we're gonna aim for with that plan is everything I just mentioned, and also trying to get a sponsor for the poop bags to have a
Right,
constant
yeah.
supply. And there's these stations that have the poop bag dispenser and then a little trash can. So we would have that near the entrance.
The hunt might be able to be that sponsor.
Okay,
We have March 12th meeting, I will bring it up,
okay.
just for
Well,
moving forward.
And the other thing we were thinking is actually like, if we can do it potentially with the fundraising, is to put, I've talked with Mike Jetter about this a lot, because the dog poop around the village is an issue all over the place. And so ideally, we would want to actually get maybe 2 or 3 of those and put them in other locations that Mike identifies around the village. And he has said like, they would love to empty those trash cans, because right now they're cleaning this stuff up on the ground. And so, so like, that's a good example of how I think, even though the dog park is over there and it's kind of like for the people with dogs or whatever, and it's kind of tucked away, we can have a really positive effect on the village potentially, so. But yeah, so those are the must-haves. And then over time, like the way that I've found that these parks develop is that as you raise, it's a lot easier to raise money once the park exists. And then people raise money and add all kinds of amenities, and water is a very nice to have thing, but it's not a must. Yeah.
Water would be great up there anyway, since there's a picnic pavilion.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the water source,
You don't have a spit.
no, there's no spigot.
Only by basketball.
There's one by there's one by the tennis
The
basketball.
softball field.
There's
So,
nothing up on the hill.
Yeah.
but it would be, I mean, down the road, that would be really cool, because there's no reason you would add it to the dog park without adding some amenity to the pavilion, so.
Do you think, Nassari, with what you were saying about the way people in the village feel about it? Right now, as far as I can tell from walking around that park, the whole park is open to dogs on leashes. Does it make sense as part of building the, the dog, if we get a dog park built there, does it make sense to maybe restrict dogs from the playground area?
They should.
They already are in
They
the
are?
code,
Yeah,
yeah, and I think even on the sign.
Oh, is it
says
signed
no
that way?
dogs. And the sign that was on the courts, which maybe they haven't replaced,
Is it the
it
same
explicitly
We have a
says,
sign on the softball field.
yeah, there's
It
signs.
doesn't matter.
They still do.
Oh, I
It's
know
like
that.
Linden Park.
But I mean,
It's
But it already is, I
Okay,
mean,
so that already exists.
I think the thing that's gonna that's gonna enforce that code is having the space.
Yeah, place for people to go.
Uh-oh. Okay, still there,
It's
Ed?
out all over the place.
Ed,
Oh, he's on mute.
yeah, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Do you have anything to add? You've been pretty quiet today.
Sorry, I'm a little out of it, not feeling that great today, so I'm just kind of listening at the moment.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm thinking a lot about the golf course and how that maintenance is handled. I'm just wondering, I hear from certain village trustees that they don't want to put any additional work on the streets team, which is understandable. But how are they doing work at the golf course? Are they doing any work down
Well,
there?
they have a team. There's there's like a greensman, and I think he has a couple of seasonals that help him.
Yeah.
So
She
Mike
means-
and team isn't doing any work at the
I
golf
think that would be a
course.
good question for Mike and his team.
Okay. I'm gonna
I
ask
think
Mike.
she's asking if the street
Is
department.
the
goes
street
down.
department doing any work whatsoever
Oh.
at the golf course? And if they are they getting,
No, I don't think.
are they getting somehow reimbursed? Like, are they reimbursing the village?
Evan
that
would know
labor
that
cost?
answer.
I think that's a good question for
Yeah.
Mike.
Just
They
because
don't
why
do
is it-
anything on a daily basis.
Okay.
on there.
I mean, the
The
golf
one
park
thing
wouldn't
they
be
did-
daily basis either,
Yeah.
But I think, I think that was it's an interesting
Yeah,
question.
because like the dog park is a free amenity for everybody in the village, whereas the golf course is only for people, who are paying and can, afford the
Oh.
equipment and all of that. So
That's
I
not
think-
the intention in the big
The
picture.
original.
Yeah, but that's,
Because
there's
that's got
no,
a master
Yeah,
plan for that one
yeah.
too.
So I just would like to know
Yeah, but that's gonna take.
Mike and team is doing any work whatsoever. I mean, I'm sure they're going and plowing and whatnot.
I think it's a
but
great question.
I would like to, I'm gonna try to get a list of any work they might.
They do, Mike's team does a lot of work in Burn Road Park now.
Mhm.
They're pretty much responsible for mowing it,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell, picking up the litter.
Which is great. It's
They-
Oh, I've seen them there. Well, that's-
They do a nice job.
Friday
I don't
afternoon.
think for the summer is so much a big deal when it comes to Burn Road, to be honest with you, because they do get the seasonal workers from the county. I think it's going to be like, which they don't even. No, I say it was like, I was gonna say, like, I don't think it's a big deal. It was just like, that first thing was like, oh, you want us to pick up dog poop? But at the same time, it's like, let's be honest, that's the big, you know,
Yeah.
that's the
One more
big
thing,
deal.
one more thing.
They just
Yeah,
want
yeah,
one more
totally.
thing, but it's like, yeah, you're not picking up, you're just changing the trash.
Yeah.
Which is-
And
yeah.
actually, you know, it's funny, I was in, my parents like live in Harlem, so I was there this past week visiting them, and there's a dog park by them. And they actually, they have these signs up at a dog park that say like volunteers needed to keep our dog park clean. If the trash is full, please empty. And even in New York City, it's like, it's a volunteer effort, and these signs were all over the dog park, and there are 2 trash cans, and people take them and then put them in the city trash can that's already getting picked up, so they'll just take the trash so that, because what it sounded like when I was chatting with people is that the city doesn't actually enter the dog park to empty that trash. So the volunteers just take it to a city trash can.
But that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Grace.
Hi, Grace. So I kind of like what you had asked about the golf course, because when I got involved with the softball, I went to Mike, because we're friends, and he goes, Dad, I gotta do one more thing. I go, it is part of the park, can't you just give us cutting the grass once a week? We will weed whack and do what will, because I understand, but it's nice to know, I know he does in the, you know,
Yeah,
the streets and stuff, but I never thought about that until involved with the hunt. And I don't want to sound like I'm not worried about your organization, but we all are kind of in the same boat, because we were just asked to get financials. After 17 years being on board for the hunt. And I'm gonna ask that question now about
Yeah.
the golf
I
course.
think it's
Yeah.
worth
It's not
asking.
about nitpicking or anything, this board is very different, which could be a good thing, change could be good. But it's right, I'd like to know, so what are you doing up there that we can't,
yeah,
it's great to have volunteers, but everybody's getting older.
yeah.
So, you know.
Especially for an amenity that's literally free, you know, it's going to make it safer. It'll make the park safer.
People will want to go,
And it's free. Anybody with a dog can go and use this space. It's not something
Absolutely.
you have to pay for. Which the golf course is great. I'm not saying we get rid of the golf course.
No, no, you're
It's
right.
also a nice amenity, but not everybody can afford.
or plays.
And I think
Or
also,
wants to do it, or can't, may want to, but can afford it.
we also, I think it's up to us as a commission to help hold the village accountable for the original promise, because they used village
Absolutely.
taxpayer money that was
Yeah.
supposed to be for public parks to purchase that land. Which again, like there is a long-term plan, which is a good one, but none of it has been realized yet. And so if, in addition to using that original funds to buy that space, there's also an ongoing cost that's kind of hidden here.
People need to know that.
I do
Yeah.
think that's
People
true.
need to know that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know.
And that's why I want to join you guys, because numbers are great, people in numbers are great. We just found, same thing with the Hunt building.
Mhm.
There was money there allocated to
Mhm.
put heat into that building that is gone now.
Mhm.
And I am just bringing all this over now. Yeah, we know the money's gone, but it's the point that you promised something to the people.
Right.
This building is not costing you anything, and yet we're trying to keep it alive for you.
Right.
Like softball. Why are you giving us such, we have insurance, we have this.
They give
We
you a hard.
bring people, they come into your village and eat at your
Right,
restaurant.
right.
That would be great if it had heat too. It could be rented out for
It was
events.
supposed to be for
That's
that.
the thing, like, you're in like this little like ongoing circle, like we can't afford it, but then if you have it, you actually could make it a revenue generator.
They don't
It's-
understand,
I
so they
don't know.
want stipends. Do you understand, we rent it for $300 a day, we're not renting it, and we only get 6
Get
events a
married there,
year.
it's beautiful.
Right.
You could get
They
like,
had prom there.
Thousands.
Oh, yeah, the prom,
But you
that
know,
was cute.
yeah,
Oh,
But
good.
unless we fix it,
yeah.
when they put the basement in, we were supposed to get heat and an air conditioning. That's when I found the paperwork, it was hidden in the archives. But somebody came up, the lawyer said, no, there's $50,000 grant in Albany, plus the village has $65,000 left over that they can do their own heat. Okay. That was 2022, thing was built. Nothing yet.
Yeah.
So I believe in numbers and
Yeah.
collectively,
Yeah.
I want people to fight for everything that we should be fighting
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Just on the point, Alina did bring it up at that meeting and even at one of the presentations about having the dog park would hopefully encourage the dog owners to take their dogs to the dog park.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not have them running every.
Yeah, not on the
every
softball
park.
field.
Yeah, I think that's.
You can probably get kids that
Well,
walk their
they're
dogs.
in the
Go
thing, they use the
there.
pavilion,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Talk about the pavilion.
Yeah.
So
the pavilion.
Antoine Lewis, he is the owner of, Antoine,
Oh, the little,
Good Vibes Only.
yes, good.
He has a
vibes.
little shop here on Torrance,
Yes.
right? So he reached out and he is also, he like is selling bottled waters with his brand on it.
Okay.
And he was like, how can I go about it to possibly put a vending machine by the pavilion?
There's no electricity.
Yeah.
No, he said everything would be going out to me how.
Like a
He's gonna
battery
bring, yeah, he's
operated
gonna
on-
generate, he's gonna offer everything. He just like, how can I bring like healthy snacks and bottles of water
Oh, so
by the
walkers,
pavilion? Yeah,
right.
correct. I
Okay.
said, I have no idea. That belongs to the village, but I was
Yeah.
like, but I have a meeting, so I will ask to see how can he go about it,
He'd have to approach
He
the
talks to the
village,
village,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he'd have to talk to the.
talk to the village directly.
I
Okay.
wish there was more.
That might go in,
Like what was useful with the dog park is that it was in the master plan for Burn Road Park, and off the top of my head, I think there is something for bringing utilities and water up that hill. So like, before he just talks to the village, look at the master plan, see if that's called out for, which I think it is, which is another thing to remember about the dog park and the village, like
Yeah.
the village tacitly approved the dog park at that location by approving the master plan 10 years ago or 8 years ago.
on the sevens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't really, I mean, yes, if they did approve it, but
It's
we
tacit.
didn't know that the finances.
No,
you
it's
know,
tacit
that-
approval. It's not, each step has to be approved because it
Okay.
costs money.
Okay.
But the site plan was approved that the
Okay.
dog park would go right where
Yeah,
it's
because
going.
there's even a walking trails on that.
Yeah.
If you need, I
Send you
can
that
share
link.
with you.
For the master plan, do you want me to send that to
Yes,
you over
please.
email?
It's on our share
It's
drive.
in our share.
Yeah,
drive,
well, I
so-
probably need to share that shit.
So it's only the commission, this information.
Well, no, it should be
It's all
public if you want
public.
it,
I
yeah.
mean,
We've mostly like gathered it.
The
Yeah.
village, the village should have the master plan for their park up on their website, but I don't think they do.
No, sorry, do you have a Gmail account or should?
Yes.
I-
No, yeah, send it to my personal,
Okay, what is it?
my first name.
Okay.
One.
No, sorry, what?
One.
One, the number one.
Mhm.
If you're logged in there, Elena,
Yeah,
can you bring up the wayfinding
sure.
sign and you can actually show them? I should have brought.
Okay,
You
so
can actually
there's-
see the signs that Grace spearheaded getting,
Oh, I have
Sure,
a
they're
school
back.
shop.
Grace, is that gentleman you talked about this, do signs for everybody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for hire?
Yeah, he's out of High Falls. His name's
Okay.
Howie. He's great. I costed it out with him with, Timely Signs in Kingston, and he was a better price.
Yeah, we need to do one too, and they were crazy.
Okay, yeah, I mean, he was, oh gosh, what was it? I think he was 1,300 versus like 17 or 1,900.
Okay.
And then I tried to do core craft, but these signs were a little too complicated for them, so they passed on.
going back to the, just going back a second to the golf course. The one activity, well, actually there was two, but one activity was the snow tubing.
I know.
Which
that was
went
so
away.
fun.
So I'm assuming that's not happening because it probably cost money,
For
too much
staff.
money, yeah.
This ice skating, the village had a whole put together ice skating ring, and then Evan went and looked downstairs and it was all gone. So like all the
Yeah.
pieces for the ice skating ring was gone.
Really?
Yeah,
Someone sold them off?
I don't know. He was not able to find them. And I have all these, I have like probably 4 dozen of ice skates upstairs in the attic here. And he's like, I have no ice skating ring, because there used to be a winter wonder
Winter-
fest or
Yeah.
something like that with the tubing and the ice skating ring, and he's gone. Like,
Well, the ice skating rink really only happened, I think, a few times.
Yeah.
Because
we need
the
to
issue
smell,
is
like
the
I
sun,
mentioned.
that's southern facing, so the sun hits
Yeah, but it also could
everything.
happen, and I seen pictures at in Lehman Park.
Yeah, that's
The
where they
lake.
used to have
The
the,
lake.
that's where they had Winter Festival.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, I think that's some activities that definitely we could
and we did,
work
there
for
were
the
a couple
winter.
races on the golf course too.
Or even, if I don't know, maybe even like get with, and I'm gonna look into it, I'm gonna look into it, because if people right now are using Lippman Park as a sled zone, maybe we can even figure out something that over the winter, we can have something like that.
Yeah.
More in a secure area, like even if it's the same space that they're using, but maybe put like bumps on the side so they don't run into their fence. Or like make it more,
Well,
know,
didn't they
see
do
them.
hockey on the pond at Littman Park too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they used to do it as part of the Winter Festival.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And maybe some other things. So, I mean,
So
and you know,
my
the
fellow
youth commission actually did that, right?
So this what happens with the youth commission, so
For that, okay.
we still have a youth commission, she technically called a youth committee,
I think.
because the person who was before me, she mingled the recreation department and the youth commission, so everything with both names is mingled. So the youth commission is not actually a commission, because it doesn't have its own. Correct.
Yeah.
So anytime that I try to bring up something at Littman, I get the pushback, it's like, it's not in the village. How is village people supposed to get to it, even though now we have free transportation? So the only event right now that I'm currently doing at Littman Park is the Easter egg.
The what?
Fun.
The Easter
It
egg.
is, I'm only doing Easter egg hunt over there. Everything else I do in the village.
That's okay, but help me out.
It's like dreams.
Oh, no, that was a pushback, but I have nowhere here in the village that I can do it, that I can divide both age groups and no one to run through them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if I do it behind the school, people can still go through that side or this side and get to the eggs before I'm able to say, no, not yet.
Before we run out of time here.
Sorry.
9 o'clock, that's okay. Got it. The one other item that was brought up in that village board meeting that we need to help along is Mike Jarrett brought up about finishing the rest of the
Mhm.
playground at Burnham Park. So I don't know if I might have meant Mark Busak or
Mark,
right? So that kind of fell by the wayside. That's something that we maybe.
That was the guy who was gonna donate.
Yeah, it came to our meeting like
I-
almost 2 years ago now.
I'm more than happy to engage with him. I don't know who was,
Evan has been the last person. So like the history is, he came to us,
yeah,
then I was in touch with him, then Terry asked for Terry to be the contact with him.
yeah.
Then nothing. Then at some point, Evan, I think Elliot kind of restarted the conversation with Evan
Mhm.
and.
I'll happily take it on. I just am a big, if someone's gonna give you something.
Yeah, I know,
free,
it's been
and you
over
have
a
any money,
year,
you
it's
take
like,
it.
take it.
Okay,
Like,
Uh-huh.
that's my,
the rule number one.
He wanted that piece in,
Take the money.
What?
I
Rule
thought that
number
piece
one,
wasn't going
fundraising.
Let's not all
He was
talk at
over it.
once, hold on here.
So it's
Let's not
Oh,
talk on
sorry.
top of each other.
so he's right behind my house. My husband actually works for him.
okay,
He does all the maintenance around all his buildings.
okay.
We had a conversation with him when it first started.
Mhm.
So when it stopped, we went to him. I said, Mark, what's going on? He goes, nobody.
He's probably annoyed, yeah.
Yeah,
He said, I wanted to do it in honor of his dad.
yeah,
He said, and I'm not gonna run after these people.
yeah.
He said, I'm giving them a lot by buying all the buildings on. He just
Makes
bought,
me so upset.
he just bought the media place on Clinton Avenue. That whole lot, where all the,
Palace.
behind Morning Sunshine. Yeah, where all the pallets and
the
the,
buses and stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
he bought that whole building and they're renting it from him. And we've seen what he's done in Thornton's.
No,
He's
it's
redone
So you might
every
still be
building.
interested, it sounds like.
Yes, but he's
But
not,
like,
he's
like-
not that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This makes me so upset. And he was totally willing to do it. And the last exchange I had, I went out there and measured the playground and took photos and mapped out the areas where there was space to add more.
He plays in a league in softball and he helps us immensely,
I think
whenever he can.
he just, it's like it's like, this is why the village needs a village manager.
Yeah.
Or we need Evan and Terry to coordinate on like, who can just help this happen? I've also sent Evan the model, so the other idea was that it was gonna be outdoor fitness equipment, for like
Mhm.
teenagers.
Yes, right.
And I've sent 3 different examples of, and companies and like information of that equipment. And I think the last thing
You
was
sent
that
that to the village or the
I
town?
sent it to Evan, Elliot, Terry, and Mark.
Oh, okay, well, 4 of them.
And I think the last thing is Evan and Mike maybe walked around Burma Park with Mark and that area
Yes, we
of the
still do. He
berm
said that.
that levels out.
Mhm.
They were sort of thinking of putting a fitness circuit with some of that equipment there. But
Yeah,
it's like,
That,
just order it. I don't know what's, like, we should just.
Well, maybe do you wanna add me to that email?
I was gonna say, can you add
I
me
have-
too?
I have-
Because then I can kind of, so I
Be
just, so you
happy
guys
to continue
know, so.
forwarding
I'm
this email.
sorry.
Hi,
So,
did you-
just so you guys know, so.
I can
As
give it
of right
to
now,
Oh, Jerry, yeah, Jerry's
Carrie's aide, Tracy Mosa is no longer.
right.
So he does not have a secretary at the
Right.
moment, and then also we lost our HR person. So when it comes to, if you're sending emails, you
Little
probably
chaos.
won't reply,
Okay.
so you pretty much have to like,
Horrible, awful.
no, you won't remember.
Okay.
So how to use it, I'm gonna be honest, like, he has a lot on his plate, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't be first, so
Yeah,
I
Just
guess like
to
using
stay
the
your
people around
Yeah.
him, like I'm one person that constantly can talk to him, especially when I'm trying to get my point across, because again, like he kind of gets lost in the emails and stuff. Bill Brown is another person that, you know, I'm like, Bill, I need A, B, and C done, and I know it'll get done, you know, by the end of the week, it'll get done. So like, if you can send that to me, then I can follow up with him, and be like, hey, it's free equipment,
Yeah.
we need it to get our.
And
we need to
everybody's
get it done.
paying for stuff for the kids.
Correct.
Like, oh my God.
yeah, we have this free thing for the kids.
Yeah, like, you
Yeah.
know, like free
Yeah.
for the kids, come on, like, I like free, so.
Oh,
But,
nobody's-
but one thing I just want
Well,
to
there
say,
will be a little.
just real quick, like, it doesn't please me to hear that like a committee of an elected official and a highway suit walked around and decided to put the stuff in the new part of the park. Let's please, we have a really good plan.
Master plan.
Let's put it where the plan calls for,
Yeah.
because like we paid somebody, the professional designer.
Yeah.
like
Good
that,
idea.
So do we have to go back to that professional designer to add it to the
No.
master
No,
plan?
it's already
Put it-
in the
Oh, it's
plan,
already
so I
up.
think
That's-
that's a,
okay.
But it
That's a
goes
great
with-
point.
It should go where the kids' playground is. It
Okay.
should go in that campus.
and there's space,
Yeah.
and they're talking about that, you know, that final wooden structure for the younger kids is not in good shape.
Mhm.
So it's like, maybe there's a combination of like some fitness equipment for, that could be more like teens, older adults.
Mhm.
And then also some younger kids, that, like, I don't know, it could be anything.
The wooden piece with the sand?
I don't know, nobody's talking about moving it, but every now and then somebody brings up, Mike Jeter will bring up that piece is having the same problem as the other
Of course.
piece.
Yeah, it will go away eventually.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
it's like
fine.
substituted for something similar. I mean, the part of the sand.
It's
that
finding
has-
the money again, they'll say, finding the money.
Because they might go and bring up like garbage cans. Was that part of you guys?
Well,
work on that?
luckily, the town we requested from the town funding for garbage cans, for proper garbage cans in their budget process. It was approved. I sent it again to Johnny, who just sent me an update, and he said that the town's purchasing department is looking at their sources just to see if they can get slightly better pricing, but it's like, it's going through the process. So I do think by the spring, it seems like we will have the bear-proof trash can at the
And those go in
pavilion.
Burn Road Park too?
Yeah, so it's one bear-proof can up by the pavilion. And two, or maybe even more than two, like metal heavy-duty park, not bear-proof, but metal park cans down by the playground and the courts. So there's
Anything
like,
in Whitman? Or-
there's stuff on that list for Littman. It's in our drive.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what, like, there was some in-kind stuff, like a safety crosswalk that we wanted them to do. Maybe Ed remembers it, actually. I couldn't remember if it. Ed, do you remember that Littman crosswalk, the crosswalk? There was a,
Yeah, there was there was a crosswalk. I could probably pull up the document, but there was a crosswalk. The just for safety restriping, the parking lot was in there, but I don't know if it got approved. Survey that is probably never going to happen unless we find an independent donor to give us money for the survey. Yeah.
This is the crosswalk from the auxiliary parking lot that they got built when they were doing the over towards the trail by the pond, right? Is that the crosswalk we're talking about?
That's for Littman or for?
Littman.
It'd be the crosswalk from, I believe, if I recall correctly, it would be the crosswalk from the quote unquote bus parking lot.
Yeah, the auxiliary parking lot, yeah.
yeah, from the bus overflow parking
Yeah, when you
area.
go in and go
Okay,
to the
yes,
right,
I see
there's
where
a
it's-
on the
parking lot.
right-hand side.
And then we also asked for striping of the main parking lot.
Mhm.
And bathroom improvements and maintenance, which is a little
For
fuzzier. Yeah, that's all for
The
Littman.
bathroom improvement got done, and
Okay.
they just did the whole, yeah, and they did all the piping underground last year.
Yeah, there was still more, I think, that
There was still
Doug
more that needed to
Doug
be done.
Nicola brought up, yeah.
Okay,
And
I don't know
so
what it would be.
I just have it
He'll be
open
here
now. So it's, oh, yeah, so it's 2 bear-proof trash cans and 4 commercial steel trash cans. And so one of the bear-proof ones will be at the pavilion and the other one is actually at the rail trail entrance.
Gotcha.
And then the commercial steel cans, one by the playground, one by the basketball court bleachers area, one by the, tennis court entrance, and one at the entrance to Mill Street Park.
Yeah, that's good.
Can I ask you guys why the softball field wasn't part of the whole thing?
We could also, I was just thinking about that as I'm reading this.
Because I'm
like,
trying
we
to find
could-
grants, because we have
we
to put
could
another.
put one
It's
of
in the
these.
master plan.
I actually think, and I think Mill Street should stay, but I don't think we need one right here we have playground, bleachers, tennis court.
Right,
I think we should move the tennis court one and put that at the softball field. Of
Okay,
the commercial
we-
steel, is
yeah,
that
well,
okay without
well,
work?
we don't need that, because
Oh.
we pay as a community, we pay the church,
Yeah,
and we use their
their
dumpster.
dumpster,
So we bring out our own red cans, and every night, we take and bring them to the dumpster. So we have helped them, the
Yeah.
church, because the village wouldn't give us cans.
yeah.
What I'm asking for is, because I was looking for grant, I'm not sure why that, because everybody just says it stops at the playground.
I think
Is
it's
that
got
what-
to do with and Ed may know better than I, but I think that's got to do, it's not much in the master plan, the softball field, because isn't that a different parcel?
If the village owns it, I don't know.
We'll have to
School
pull
doesn't
up
own
we'll have to pull up the master
Yeah.
plan, look at it.
Yeah.
It's the same parcel.
They probably considered it done in a way. If you're not gonna change what's there.
No, but we need fencing,
You need improvements,
we
yeah.
need the name.
Right.
So in order to get grants, when I try to look, I did look, we have to be part of some bigger plan. We can't,
Yeah.
we are not a 501c, we can't do it on our own. So we put the first field, netting up that protects the softball field, the playground, but it was $5,000.
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
is mentioned in here, I'm looking at the master plan now. Natural grass softball field, like, it's not like it's not mentioned.
It's
So-
not called out for any improvements or anything.
I'm still looking for that, but
It's
you
something-
could probably still point to the master plan if you need to say
Okay.
like what you're a part of.
All right.
So I'll send it to you too, Debbie.
Yeah, the
once I
village
get
would
it.
request probably that.
Well, because they won't, because we need, now we need a new infield. It's to the point now where we need the improvements. And whatever money we make goes right back into the line. The village doesn't pay anything. We got our insurance and everything.
So
So it's
it,
just like,
Does
So-
the high school
no.
softball thing, I think,
Nobody
play there?
play there.
Nobody play there,
They
right?
do absolutely nothing.
They don't charge you any permit fee or anything.
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
yes, and they have to
We have
have
to have it
insurance.
insured.
What's the
Okay.
permit cost from the village?
We pay a one-time $50.
It's not like this.
It's not like it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
but we have to show insurance.
Yeah.
And it's $5,000 a
Yeah.
year for the insurance.
Yeah.
And anybody else that comes, like goes a Saturday weekend, they have to have we have to have more insurance.
So Debbie, this actually does, so in the master plan map, it's identifying the area around the field. And it says existing storage shed, dugouts, and concrete game tables.
Correct.
Area should be evaluated and upgraded to best suit users' needs. And then the field itself, it says existing softball field to remain, upgrade as required.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And so this is probably like for grant purposes, you could include
Okay.
this master plan and that would, you're basically finding grants for the upgrades and they're spelled out here,
Thank
so.
Because the church owns, when you pull into the road, all the way straight past the little concession stand.
Yeah, up that hill.
Correct.
Yeah,
From that
church, right?
is the village
Oh, it is.
and the field.
All right, we're
Okay.
I'm starting to
You
get
gotta
run
go.
over here. I don't want to, good discussion, but.
Yeah,
Gotta get to work.
you can send me that.
Yeah.
Or.
Yeah, we'll get you in the link.
Yeah, thank you, I
Then
appreciate
they
it.
can, cause it's public information. We have no
Yeah.
problem sharing stuff with anyone.
Yeah, if I can use the grants, it helps us too.
The question I have, if there's gonna be cost with Mark donating, is it gonna be with installation? Do you know that? or-
So you think he would
I
pay
think
for it all?
it's
They
like,
have to
don't
be
even,
installed by them, right?
don't even worry about that yet.
Yeah.
Let's just get him that.
I'm saying cost, is, you know, the cost, when you say, all right, now, it's the same thing with dog park, all right, you got the equipment, it shows
Although
up.
the
gonna
appetite
put it
for
in?
shouldering kids' cost
Yeah.
seems high.
Yeah,
Like, I think the village would find a way to support that.
We have a local business owner, the guy who does the baseball, the little baseball, what's his
Oh,
name?
wow.
He said he would do it himself.
Right.
He was like, why, like, when the whole park things, it's like, why are you guys paying an outside person to come and install it when I can do it myself for free? So something like that,
Well,
somebody's
that's
doing it, I mean,
let's say these parts break, now the village can say we have to fix
but they
it.
have insurance for that purpose, so like, when, yeah.
the
so
other,
company
the other,
insurance-
again, with the dog park is, if somebody gets bit in the village, gets
Oh, yeah.
sued, does the insurance go up?
No.
It's like if there's an accident on the street, the village gets
No,
sued.
that was explained, that
And
was
that's where
explained in the
people keep bringing this stuff up.
He did the same thing.
Yeah.
Because if you walk on the sidewalk and you fall.
Yeah.
You still can.
Yeah, yeah, all right, so enough of that.
Just gonna jump in quick, sorry. For anybody who's looking at the master plan, the softball field improvements list with budget is on page 42 of the master plan.
Thanks, Ed. So we hit a lot of old business, I think, in this already. Is there any other old business that we've overlooked? And anything new, anyone?
Just real quick, the village is working on a drinking water protection, source water drinking protection plan. I got put onto that group as a land manager because the park is a huge component of the village's watershed. It's a great process that the DEC has a bunch of towns and villages going through. Barton and Judas is doing it as the contractor for the village. And it's also, you know, we did something, the Environmental Conservation Commission worked for 2 years to develop a source water protection plan for the drinking water in the town of Warsing, but we were unable to get the modified and watered down plan through the village board. So it's town board, I'm sorry. So that's been sitting dormant, but now what I'm realizing from working on, having worked on the town one and the village one is that watersheds really don't know political boundaries, and the village's watershed protection is integrally tied to the town's source water protection as well as with the village. It's even more complicated because the Sandberg Creek is a huge component of the village's water, and that starts in another county. But anyway, it's good that the village is looking at protecting its. I've become much more aware of the village's water situation, and they have a situation.
Yeah, that was a part of that meeting too.
Yeah, they need some redundancy, they need some additional water sources.
Huge project. All
Big
right.
money.
Anything else? If not, we'll.
I just have one of them coming up on March 8th. We're gonna be having a St. Patrick's Day event right here in front of the town building. And just invite the community to come out and just do fun games with the kids. I have a family that is donating, some food, Irish food, don't know what it is, I just know it's Irish. To keep people warm.
Corned
I know
beef.
it's cold. I believe that's what it is, but I didn't want to say it because I didn't know how to say it.
Most
But I
likely.
was like, I don't know what it was.
You weren't going.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's just, some good stuff happening.
All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be warm.
Guess with that,
He's
we'll-
never warm, but I try to keep people warm.
Yeah, now it goes on the building, you know.
we'll adjourn. Thanks, Corinne and Deb for being here. If you want to join. Again, the village, you would contact if you're interested in
I
joining.
think they're both
Contact.
They're both towns.
What's the difference?
It's just
Where you
with
live.
seats for both, yes,
Open
where you live.
seats here.
You
But
live in the village?
Yeah.
Then you gotta apply as a village.
So you're a village.
Well,
and you
that's
would
not
be a town.
necessarily true.
Right, but if you have.
I mean, that's where I want to steer it.
But in the town also.
But the,
That's
yeah,
the village though.
Yeah, well, so do we.
Yeah, if you do live in the village, you should
But
take
if
a
you're
village
town-
state because
Yeah,
it's
yes,
harder.
exactly.
Then it's for your floor.
And in the town, the applications down, the applications
We have
downstairs.
seats in both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, two years for
I didn't
town
realize
and
her
5
was
for the
5 years.
village.
You guys have a great day.
Yep.
Have a good day, everyone.
The town board has to approve this, or the village board, but that-
But the silly Easter eggs. I love it. Where you put something like, oh,
Oh, so part of that is I put up, you know, Facebook, so I'm gonna tell you.